So, after a staggering 8 months of development, Block Tales Demo 4 has finally been released. Honestly, I just don't know how they keep doing it. Demo 4 is an absolute banger that exceeds nearly every expectation that I had for the game going into it. The game is still hilarious, the stakes and character conflicts still continue to become more and more engaging, and just everything is perfect. By the end of the chapter, no lie, I was genuinely shaking. Not only because the final boss is hard as balls, but also because the story and characters were just so interesting by that point. But today, I don't necessarily want to focus on the main story of this chapter, partially because Rogue already beat me to it, and also because I think there is a lot else that this demo delivers to us. In particular, I think that John Shedletsky, the main man himself, is hiding something from us. He knows much more than he lets on, and it could very well be the doom that we see in the future. So, be sure to strap on in, like the video, and subscribe to the channel, because today we are diving back into the deep lore of Block Tales. So, let's get back to Shed, shall we? This latest update has given us a lot of reasons not to trust him. Firstly, this update gave us access to the pre-prologue, an introductory sequence set in the modern times of Roblox, aka the prophesied future that all the antagonists are so scared of. In this moment, we see Builderman, aka David Baszucki, give his speech, only to be kidnapped by a mysterious figure wearing a black Dominus. We see Builderman get captured, and this isn't the Builderman of the past. This is the Builderman of the present. So that begs the question, how would Shedletsky even see or recognize this Builderman has been captured? It's simple, this is not his Builderman. The Builderman of the past would not only be right where he should be, but also he would look nothing like anything Shedletsky had ever seen, because he's from the future. Plus, in Demo 1, Shedletsky blames Red and Blue for Builderman's kidnapping, which we later learn is not the case whatsoever, as they work for their Uncle Nubidor, who was hired by the Griefer. So unless they capture the past Builderman as well, which, mind you, is highly unlikely, as Griefer and Red and Blue are now our allies and they'd probably tell us that, Shedletsky is just blatantly wrong, or he's lying. Okay, so as it turns out, Red and Blue did in fact not beat up Shedletsky, nor take Builderman. They just took credit for someone else who did it, which explains the amount of damage done to Shed's body and the building top. Regardless, it still doesn't change the fact that Shedletsky shouldn't be able to recognize the man captured as Builderman, because at this time in 2010, Builderman looked like this and not like this. This isn't the only instance of Shedletsky lying to the player, or at the very least not telling them the full truth. In Demo 3, he sends the player to his mansion, Telemon's Manor. Aside from the fact that he has the undead and other spirits roaming its halls, it is from this place, specifically from interacting with the ghost chef, that we learn of the existence of Shedletsky's alter ego, Telemon. Telemon was able to reach into the afterlife and bring the ghost chef from Blackrock to his own manor, saying that his gifts were still needed. While this may seem like a wholesome gesture, and it really is from the ghost chef's perspective, the context of Demo 4 makes this very suspect. Also, not to mention, by this point in the story, Shedletsky is in a full body cast in a wheelchair. So how is it that he was able to turn into his alter ego and grab the ghost chef from the afterlife? Whether he is evil or not evil, he certainly has some abilities that he is simply masking. There is just so much more to this character than he is just letting on. So, by now, hopefully, I've been able to show you a bit of a pattern with Shedletsky. He seems to possess knowledge of things that he otherwise should not know, and despite being in a full body cast and paralyzed, he's able to become his godlike alter ego, capable of rescuing spirits and bringing them back for new purposes. Not to mention, his speech becomes quite elegant once he becomes Telemon. Remember that for later. Anyways, Demo 4 is where Shedletsky has his most overtly suspicious moments. From just the thumbnail alone, we can see that his back is ominously turned away from the rest of the group, being an interesting choice for sure. Next, we have his first encounter dialogue, where it has him awkwardly and constantly referring to us as a temporary Roblox employee, something that he has never done before up to this point. We also have him beginning the conversation by talking to himself, mumbling and saying things are falling into place after all. It's a very strange line, and it's not like he even wanted us to hear it because he tells us to disregard it. Additionally, he just never elaborates on this line. But we already know that Shed has some secrets he's not willing to share with the player, so this is just yet another thing added to the pile. We also know that Shed is intimately familiar with the Swords of Time themselves, as well as the dangers that they possess. On the front, he acts very naive and not really knowing what their true purpose is, but we know that he knows. He secured the Ghost Walker in a remote location precisely only because he had to know how dangerous it was. He had the Ghost Chef stick around in his mansion because he specifically needed him for that better purpose. He knew that the player would be unable to collect the sword themselves normally, so he made sure to have a friendly ghost around to collect for them. He knows about the voices, or at the very least, the apparition of Builderman that hatred likes to become to deceive people. He told Mayor Thaniel exactly that. He knows pretty much every single sword guardian, so this man knows a lot of information. But for what? What are his plans for the swords and for us? We know he intended to specifically obtain the swords himself, but he couldn't because of his very convenient injury. Well, let's take a step back from Shedletsky and now focus once again on the main antagonist of the game that we were introduced to in the pre-prologue. This evil figure, who I'm simply going to refer to as Dominus for a little bit, has some very interesting personality traits. He yells at Builderman for, quote, abandoning his community and how he took everything from them. Builderman even recognizes the Dominus, which they find curious and unexpected. But the biggest revelation of all is the way that the Dominus speaks to the player. It is very eloquent, and he quickly sees the potential in the player's abilities. Sound familiar? These qualities are both in Shedletsky and Telamon as well. Now, this is where things get a little crazy, so bear with me. I'm not exactly saying that Shedletsky is the Dominus guy, but I do think there is evidence to show that Shedletsky is heavily involved here. I think that this Dominus guy is yet another alter ego of Shedletsky, similar to Telamon. Specifically, I think that he is none other than the Roblox myth Yorick. Let me explain. So, Builderman recognizes whoever this person is, which both shocks and surprises them. They were not expecting Builderman to remember them, which would be fitting for such an old myth, a myth that is currently terminated on the platform. Secondly, we don't get many good looks at the in-game model of the Dominus guy, but we do get a few peeks thanks to the lighting, where we can see what greatly resembles a skull head underneath the Dominus. This matches perfectly with Yorick, whose defining feature is his skull head. Thirdly, I want to prove to you the connection between Yorick and Shedletsky. Telamon's Manor is essentially a modern recreation of an old Roblox map that was one of the first Roblox Halloween events. This map is quite literally known as Yorick's resting place. If we move to the real world, Shedletsky, alongside another Roblox admin, quite literally created the character of Yorick himself, even having access to the account when it was still around, since he created the clothes and general design of it. Another thing that one of my friends pointed out is the Dominus Astra, the hat used by our mysterious antagonist. This Dominus is not owned by one, not two, but three of Shedletsky's alt accounts, meaning that they are items that hold great significance to him in real life. That, or he really just likes this hat a lot. Regardless, I don't think it's merely a coincidence that the main antagonist of this game happens to use the same Dominus that Shedletsky owns. These developers made a genie who makes an accurate reference to the 2007 to 2010 housing crisis. Then in the fight against him, he can't physically attack you, so he summons a dummy who does all the wishes for him. These are developers who made it so, after we purged our greed from the previous chapter, we now want nothing to do with luxury, and instead demand a bottled ship and a simple shovel when given the option to wish something. These developers pay attention to details. They are not stupid. They are some of the smartest developers on the site. And I'm confident that they consider everything that happens in the story, including something as simple as character designs. But I guess this all leaves the question. If Shedletsky is evil, why would he do this? Why would he turn on Roblox and Builderman? Why create this whole time loop in the first place, especially since in real life, Shedletsky is actually in very good standing with Roblox, both as a company and just as a player? Well, I think at the end of the day, it has to do with the fact that he was let go from the company. In the present, Shedletsky is nowhere to be found, with David not so much as mentioning his existence. Despite this, it's a very curious detail that the game draws attention to, that the fact that Builderman recognizes the Dominus guy. This would explain Shedletsky's obsession with mentioning the fact that we're temporary employees, as he himself is ultimately a temporary employee in the grand scheme of things. The biggest opposition I could see to this theory is how it's kind of odd to see someone like Shedletsky as involved in being a villain. Although in truth, a lot of Roblox games do the same things, just not with Shedletsky. Often you'll see real-life admins, moderators, and hackers turned into heroes and villains. Mr. Doombringer, 7 and 7, even Builderman himself. The only difference is that we just never see a story do it with Shedletsky, and I think that's precisely what the Block Tales developers are banking on. So yeah, in short, I believe that Shedletsky is hiding something from the player. I believe that he uses his alter egos, Telemann and Yordrick, to further his ultimate goal, which I believe is the preservation of classic Roblox based off of the dialogue of the Dominus guy in the pre-prologue. Regardless of this theory being true or not, I definitely think that Shedletsky is hiding something. This is just a possible explanation as to what. I don't feel like talking much about the main story of the demo as, like I said, it's already been covered, and also it's a pretty straightforward story with lore that is very self-contained. If anything, we got to see in real time how the swords impacted the people of this world, as well as their effects on individuals like Captain Trotter. His backstory is genuinely super tragic. Calypso is obviously Kyoko's sister. I think it's so obvious that it would feel patronizing to even try and explain it. If you've played the demo, you know. There's a few other things in there like the genie and Terry and all these other things that could possibly be saved for another video, but I think for now I am pretty much done. What do you think of my theory? Do you think Shedletsky's evil? Do you think he's hiding something at all? Leave your theories down below, and while you're down there, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.